right, good evening. My name is Kenny Tan, and welcome to the Real Biz Academy show, aka Santa Mac Weekly Sales Training. Tonight, we're going to have the Northern California monthly California real estate update. As our presenters tonight, we'll have presenter number one, Kathleen Xiang from the Tri Valley, and then we'll have presenter number two, Lily Garipova, all over the Bay Area. And then, of course, we have Jhoanna Cruz, and who's going to be talking about the market update in Contra Costa. She's got unique knowledge in the Contra Costa area. So she's going to share with us some new development in the Contra Costa area. So let's go ahead and greet some people that are in attendance today. Let's see who's in attendance. We got Maggie, we got Henry, Andrew, Hua, TM, Amy, Jennifer, Feng Jiao, Carrie, Zhou Hong, Elaine, Chen, Maria Stikova, Hannah Zhou, Justin Jiang, Wei Feng Zhang, Howard Xiao, Kevin Wang. All right, let's see who else is here. We got Fan Wei. All right, good, good. We got a good participation tonight. Glad to see that. Without further ado, we got Chang Ping as well. Let's go ahead and get started with Kathleen. All right, Kathleen, go ahead and quickly introduce yourself and tell us your specialty, what area you specialize in, and tell us what you're going to share with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Kenny, for having me today. I'm Kathleen Xiang with Centamac Realty, and I focus on the market in San Francisco Bay Area, mainly in the Tri Valley area. So today I'm going to share with you some numbers in this area.
Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and get started.
Okay. Before I move into today's topic, I just want to let you know that the Tri Valley area has just entered the perfect season of the year because the Bay Area, there's a severe drought, and we have so many mountains and also the farms in the Tri Valley area. And thanks to the raining days a couple of weeks ago, now the colors has been bring back. You can see when you go out and look every directions, you can see all the green colors, green mountains. So it's the best time of the year in Tri Valley. I still vividly remember when I first moved to the Pleasanton area. Every time I drove home, it feels so relaxing. So I think I encourage everyone to come out and do some shopping in the outlets in the Tri Valley and hiking some the trails, and also maybe tour some houses.
All right, all right. I can't wait to go back to the Bay Area and go to
Yeah,
San Ramon and take some videos again.
great.
All right, let's go ahead and get started with the first slide.
Okay, the first slide. Some audience may have watched the previous our show, the market updates. From last month, we saw the San Ramon and Pleasanton area, the median sale price has dropped a little bit. And we were worried if the market's going to going down and it form a trend. Actually, as you can see for this month, the market in San Ramon and Pleasanton for the median sale price, they increased again. It reached at 1.76 million for both of the cities, San Ramon and Pleasanton. And as you can see, from the October 2020, which means the same time last year, it raised a lot for the market. It raised 34% for San Ramon in median sale price, and it raised 32% in Pleasanton for the median sale price. So the Tri Valley area market is very, very hot, even till today. And the doubling, as you can see, it dropped a little bit for the last month, and but it's still a big increase from the beginning of, this chart, October 2020. It is a little bit over 1.05. Now it even reached at 1.65 million, and last month it reached at 1.4. So it shows a 27% increase from the same time last year. So let's
All
move
right,
on
but I
to the
do see a little decline though for Dublin. What's going on?
yes. Actually, I'll share with you some numbers in the next two slides. The inventory is extremely low. I think just the whatever provided onto the market is just not that priced that high. So that's my guess.
Okay, all right. It'd be interesting to know why we see a little decline from September to October for Dublin.
Okay, definitely. So let's
Okay,
move on
next
to the
slide.
next. Yeah, I'll answer that question later. So for Livermore, all these three cities are not very popular, or we can say it's not very typical cities in Tri Valley area. Because in Saramon and in Pleasanton, all the schools are good, the best high schools in the area, and the traffic is, I mean, the location is more convenient. For Livermore, Danville, and Alamo, for Danville and Alamo, those are higher end communities. So as you can see, the median sale price around 2 million or even 2.4 for Alamo. And in Livermore is a lower end uh, city in Tri Valley area. There are lots of investors or young couples, or they can bear some traffic. So the Livermore reached at 1.1 million. It's still increased 21% from the same time last year. And for Danville, it is 1.985 million. It shows an increase of 23% from the same time last year. And Alamo reached at 2.4 million. Actually, it's a drop. It's decreased 9% from the same time last year regarding to the median sale price.
Okay, excellent. Let's
Okay,
go ahead and look at the next slide.
yeah. As I mentioned to you, as you can see, the doubling the active properties is only two. So that's probably why the median sale price is very low, because there's not so many numbers to compare from, or there's not too many numbers uh, we can find a trend. So with just two uh, in inventory, that means could be very random. One might be around 1 million, the other one 1.4 or something. That might be the problem. We do not have many higher priced properties came onto market. So that's my guess why the doubling the median sale price is low for this month. As
Okay,
you
now
can
it
see,
looks like the inventory is very, very low in Dublin. Have you ever seen the inventory this low in Dublin in the past?
no, not in this year. As you can see, the monthly supply in Dublin reached zero point 0.1
Oh
month.
my God.
So there's basically nothing on the market. So if you have a property in Dublin and you're thinking about selling, so I think it's a very good time. You will get lots of buyers, a lot of offers, and a lot of traffic, definitely. And for Saramon, it only has 9 active listings, while sold properties is 61, which also showed a 5% drop, I mean, decrease from the same time last year regarding to the sold properties numbers. And the month supply is extremely low. It is zero point 0.2 month, and it shows a zero point 0.2 month drop from the same time last year. For Pleasanton, the inventory is very, very low as well. It's at 17, and it shows a zero point 0.3 month supply. At the same time last year, it was 1 month supply. So basically, it's a very, very competitive market still in Pleasanton. We already mentioned Dublin. Let's move on to Livermore. Livermore has 44 active listings with a little bit over 100 uh, units sold, and this is the only city that shows an increase on the sold properties. It shows an 18% increase, and the month supply is still low. It's lower than it's just about half a month's supply, and it shows a zero point 0.1 month increase in Livermore. And this is the only city that shows an increase in the monthly supply compared to the same time last year. And for Danville, it has, as you can see, for the higher end markets, there are lots of inventories compared to those competitive markets. So for demo, they have 29 units for sale with a sold properties of 74 units. It shows a 20% drop from the same time last year, and the month supply is 0.5. And for Alamo, it has 28 units for sale, and the sold properties is only 19, which shows if you're shopping in Alamo, you have more time to compare the properties, and you might have some bargaining power on that if you're a buyer. And the month supply is 1.6, even though it's over two. Even though it's over 1 month, it still shows a 0.5 months drop from the same time last year. So that's the brief numbers in the Tri Valley area.
All right, I can see there's a good correlation between the inventory
Yes.
and the active
Yes.
listing and the month supply. Very
Yes.
strong correlation. If you look
Yes.
at, uh, of course, Livermore has 44. Livermore is probably amongst the lowest price point in the Tri Valley area.
Yes. And it's a larger
And
area. There are more properties for sale, uh, as always. Yeah.
okay, all right, great. Excellent. If you don't have anything else to add, I'm going to
Yes.
give the platform to the next presenter and invite
Thank
you
you.
back to express some expert opinion. I have some question for you guys.
Okay.
Is that
Thank you.
okay with you, Kathleen?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next presenter, and that's Lily Garipova. Lily is probably texting and replying to her clients. I know Lily is super busy. All right, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself and tell us what you're going to tell us today.
Hi, Kenny. So, thank you for having me here today. Yes, so I'm agent from Centromac Realty, and I'm working in the northern part of California, representing buyers and sellers. Yeah, and I will show some slides on the property. I mean, like on the uh, higher end properties on Peninsula and on in some cities. Yeah, we can start with the slides if it's, yeah, it's just a little bit about me. If you have any questions about specific cities, just reach out to me. So we can go to next slide.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, yeah, so
Oh, I
in
have
some,
the wrong person on the screen. Hang on a second. Let me make sure I got Lily there. Lily. Okay, now you're on the screen. All right, Lily, here you go.
Not a problem. So yeah, I can tell a little bit about what happens in the market, on the market in general, right? Like people keep saying like, oh, it's gonna fall, but we don't feel it's falling. It's just a little softening, right? So what happens right now in San Jose, because so there is a many tiers of the pricing of the properties, right? Like so there is a properties which are above 1.1 mil, the properties which are at 1.5, the properties above 2 mil. So, and what happens right now, because of the forbearance, and it ended in many um, cases, right? So a lot of homes which are on a smaller tier, they will start coming up on the market. And San Jose, you will see like this added um, inventory to the market, right? So, and we see there is like some choices, and you can still go after a home which is under 1 mil. I mean, like, let's say it's listed under 1 mil, but yes, you have to bid. So, and in general, yes, there is still room to grow in San Jose. And people who search for homes in San Jose, the growth is there, right? And the bidding is there, but it's not insane like it was like a couple months ago. So we can see on this slide that the home prices are growing in San Jose, they're not going down. So it's just softening by bidding, you know, what people put on a house over list price. So we can go to next slide.
Uh, okay, now this one is showing the medium list price for single family home in
Yeah,
San Jose. Now uh, it looks like the curve is a little bit flattening off? Are we seeing a seasonal slowdown, or are we still going strong in San Jose?
We're still going strong. It's a little seasonal, and I think some people are just, as I mean, like I said previous in my previous topic. Yes, some people are just discouraged, right? Like then some. I just reached out to one of my clients today and sent them a home which was like long time on the market in San Jose, and I said, hey, this is a house, and they said like, yeah, but we have to bid over like 100K on top, and I said like, no, no, this one was hanging on the market like over 30 days. We can bid probably at asking price, right? Some people have still this discouragement in them, right? Like, but depends what kind of property, right? So some of the properties are very specific. They either overpriced or location wise or they have worse schools. So but you still like, because in the previous month people were bidding 100K on top even on the homes which are in the worst school areas.
All right, all
uh,
right. Now, Ying Mei is asking the same question, but you may have missed the answer.
yes.
So maybe we'll come back to it during the conclusion. I have questions to ask you at that time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide.
Yeah, it just like shows how much homes sold recently in San Jose. So it's basically the home prices are, I mean, like the home prices are still growing, and there is, like we see a little inventory coming up on the market, but it's still not enough. So we can go to next slide.
Okay.
And medium days on the market. Yes, on average, if it's a really good house and a good neighborhood, it's not going to last long. So, and it's going to go really fast. So, even I would show you more examples on the next slide.
Okay. Great.
Okay, that's a good graph which shows San Jose today, right? Like at 2021. If you pull the slide a little bit up, right, you would see on the left side how much in percentage people used to bid over list price, right, in San Jose. And right now you would see we are in November. Like if you see the last one should be November, right? So we're going
Yes.
down in San Jose. It doesn't mean people do not bid on the homes. They just put less money on top of a listing price, right? So like it doesn't mean there is no bidding wars. It just eased bidding wars, right? So they still putting money on top of the homes. I mean, like of a listing price. And it
Okay.
just shows us how the graph changes. And you would see this curve, right? It's going down in the percentage wise. People don't bid so much anymore in
Okay.
San Jose.
Excellent.
In San Jose. Okay,
Okay.
we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
And
Next slide.
that's we can I forgot already. I don't see what specific
It's a
city we.
medium list price for single family home, and
Oh
it's in San Carlos.
yes, San Carlos. Very specific situation. I can tell you a little bit about San Carlos. So what happens right now, right? Like with the tier, like with the homes which are under 1.5 and the homes which are above 2 point something, right? Like 2.5 or 2.2. So it's a different tier prices, right? So what we see, if some homes at the lower range come on the market because of forbearance programs are stopping and so on, and so people have to sell their homes and become a renters and so on. But if there is like a higher range homes, a higher price homes, specifically in San Carlos, on average, probably today there is maybe 3 or 4 homes for sale above like 2 point, I mean like under 2 mil, right? So and
Mm-hmm.
like just imagine 4 or 3 homes on a whole city market, right? So recently I submitted an offer and there were eight offers on the table. We lost. So as soon as the house comes on the market at 1.7 or 1.8, some like I just recently submitted preemptive. We got lost. I mean, like, so people move really fast in San Carlos. They submit preemptives even this when the listing agents say do not submit preemptive, and it moves really really fast because there is only like 4 or 3 homes on the market at the price range from 7 to 2 mil. And when we talk about San Carlos, people bid not a little gap, right? They come with 400K on top, 500K on top. And growth, there is a big growth in San Carlos, and I think it's gonna come up in the price even more because there is nothing, literally nothing to buy. And so I've been on open houses, and you would see like about 80 groups of people running from one house to the next one. And so you would meet the same people at the next house, right? And there is only 3 or 4 homes on the market. So yes, San Carlos goes very strong, and mostly because there is no inventory. It's insane. But yes, on actually what I noticed lately, majority of my buyers who go on a higher tier purchase, right? It's actually more difficult to get home on a higher tier purchase. So I noticed if my buyers would be under 1.5, it would be easier for them to get in a contract at today's market. But if they are at the higher tier, it's really difficult to get in a contract. So
Well, let me ask you this. Why is it more difficult to get into contract for a higher range property? Is it because of a lower number of properties on the market, or is it because there are more buyers in the higher end?
there are more buyers on a higher end. There is less properties on the market to buy. Let's say San Carlos, there was like 4 properties on the market and 8 people submitting for almost each home, right? So out of these 8 people, and like I've been working with my clients in San Carlos for like a couple months now, and I noticed, like every time I would say like, okay, 8 offers on this house, and then, okay, this house went pending. So on the next house, it should be less buyers, right? So it should be probably 7 or 5, but it still ends up with the 8 offers, right? So next one ends up with the 8 offers, next one ends up with the 6 offers. So there is like the buyers are not becoming like there is not let I mean like the buyers are not there is still buyers, and they're adding and adding to these cities, right? And the cities are still desirable, but there is nothing to buy at this price range. And people bid big in San Carlos city.
Hmm. Okay, well, that's
Not
interesting.
not
Okay, let's look
100K.
at the next slide. Okay.
Okay, and that just shows like how many homes sold in San Carlos, right? Like, so not a lot, and there is nothing to buy, not like literally. So we can go to the next slide. I can
Sure.
show more on the specific graphs, just how it goes on San Carlos. And the days on the market, yes, it's less days on the market. As I say, a couple days ago, I just, like because I've been so discouraged, like from shortage on the market, I went and started to search on MLS. So I found a house which was visible only to the agents. So by the time I called the agent, he said he already have a preemptive on his hand, and he had none of the documents ready. And I said, wait a second, you haven't been even on the market, and you just put it on MLS. And he says, yes, I do have preemptive. So I drove right, like within a half an hour, I was in San Carlos with my clients to show the property, and from the house I submitted the offer for the home, right? And still, like you in some cases you just have to act really fast.
Well, let me ask you this. I
Hmm.
know sometimes in the MLS listing, the listing agent might say, we don't entertain preemptive offer, and yet they entertain preemptive offer. Have you ever seen that before?
They do, and like from my couple days ago, the same situation with the San Carlos home. So this agent, I called him like twice within a week. I said like, hey, would you take a preemptive? He said strong no. So I called him again. I said like, please take our preemptive. He said no. And then like 2 days later, I was on the weekend with my family. He called me in the evening and he said, hey, some agent just submitted preemptive, and I have to present it to my sellers. Do you want to submit an offer? So yes, and by the time I prepared an offer, they already signed. So, and I talked to the agent couple hours later, and he said, you know what, I'm so sorry, and I know a lot of agents say do not submit preemptive, but like we just have to do our best. Next time, please submit your preemptives, because some agents are very aggressive and they just come with the preemptives.
Well, I also want to share with you a story about being aggressive. Oh my God. You can't believe how aggressive this agent is. Recently, I had a commercial listing, and it was on the MLS. It's still on the MLS. So this listing brought her buyer to see the property. The buyer was very interested in the property, and the agent did something that I think a lot of listing agent might be unhappy over. She actually drove to my client's house while I'm still the listing agent and knocked on the door and spoke to my seller. At that time, my seller picked up the cell phone and said, "Hey, Kenny, we got a agent who has a buyer that wants to buy our property." I said, "Oh, really?" So she actually made an appointment with me in front of my seller and drove all the way to my listing and look at the property. Okay, that's not the end of the story. So after she showed we showed the property to her and her buyer. She was very interested. First, she wanted to lowball my listing. My property was listed at 1.568. She said, "Kenny, I've been checking other properties in Pomona." She said, based on the square footage, your property should only be worth about 988,000. I said, "Really?" I said, "This is not Pomona. This is South El Monte." She said, "Still, I can't imagine my buyer paying over a million for that." I said, "Well, we're at 1.568. I previously already received verbal offers of 1.28 and 1.4. So if you come in at 988, my seller won't even look at it." She said, "Yeah, but Kenny, you know what? I think it's only worth maybe 1.2. I say, "Well, you're welcome to submit an offer for 1.2. I'll present all offers to my seller." And then we had a few other buyers that were also interested, and they all submitted offer on my commercial listing. First one came in at 1.5. The second one came in at 1.53, and the third one came in at a little bit. Well, actually, she submitted. I told her, I said that I already got two offers. They're all over 1.5. She said, "Oh, really?" So she got her buyer to come in at 1.538, and then one of the buyers that submitted an offer previously, revised their offer to 1.6. And then I told her, I contacted her. I said, "Hey, you're at 1.53, and now I have a buyer who came up to 1.6. She said, "Really?" And then she quickly dropped out another offer, revised, and submit one at 1.608. And then I got enough offers to present to my seller. So I made an appointment with my seller last Sunday. And I can't believe it. I told everybody what time I was meeting my seller. And then after my meeting with my seller, I walked out of the seller's home. There was a car parking next to me. She said, "Hey, Kenny, I got my buyer in my car. We're ready to have it signed 1.608. Okay, can we do it now?" I say, "No." I say, "My seller is going to ask for best and high final offer." Oh, she said, "Really?" That's how aggressive some agents can be. So in this market, the aggressive ones are probably going to improve their chances. So even if a listing agent tells you, "We don't accept preemptive offer," hey, you know what? Never hurt to ask. I think Gene Riley will tell you, even for coming soon, if your buyer sees a coming soon property that they like, call up the listing agent, say, "I realize you're on coming soon, okay, but can we at least get a chance to see the property?" And this, she had she had been able to at least once to see a property that's in a coming soon. So it's almost like exclusive at that time. So if your buyer sees it, if your buyer likes it, presents a preemptive offer, your buyer may just get their offer accepted as a preemptive offer. I just want to share with you how aggressive the agents have been in this market. All sorts of agents out there. Okay. Now, some listing agent might be upset at the behavior. Of course, I was a little unhappy that she can actually went behind the back of the listing agent and knocked on the door of the seller's home and started to talk to the seller. Can you imagine if my seller did not have the presence of mind to call me? And of course, she probably would not sign any offer that she brought because she did bring an offer. No, no, she didn't bring an offer, but she wanted to talk to the seller to influence the seller. After that incident, and I had a conversation with my seller. The seller said, "Hey, you know what, Kenny? I saw how hard this buyer's agent work. I'm a little touched. I say, you got to be rational in this market. Agents will do all sorts of things to influence you. Just be careful, okay? So you can see, if you're waiting for things to happen, you're not gonna get the business. You're not gonna get your offer accepted. You got to be a little bit more aggressive. All right. I hope that helps you guys. All right. Next slide.
Thank you, Kenya. Yeah, so here it's another slide. It just shows how much over list price in San Carlos this year buyers bid, right? So you can see on this curve, it's going only up, and it's not going even down. So there is a the time on the market of the homes is very short right now because there is nothing to buy and people bid very aggressive in San Carlos. So we can see on different graphs. We can go to next slide.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just example how it was in 2020, right? Basically, if you would see on this curve, in the months of December, we will see November, right? Like how it's going down, right? It's seasonally, you would see everything going down. So we would see example of 2019 on the next slide.
Yes.
Yeah, so you see the curve again going down at the end of the year, and we will go to 2018. It's just a good example what happens with the seasonality and a shortage on the market. So you will go to next slide, please.
Yes.
Yes, the same thing in 2018 when it was in November, December, the curve was down, right? So this is what happens like usually in the seasonal market at this time of the year, but not this year, right? And why this happens specifically? Because there is only 4 or 3 homes on the market as of now at the range of like 1.7 to 2. So basically there is nothing to buy and people bid like highest as high as they can. So it's insane, but yeah. So we can go to the next slide.
Of course.
um on the next slide, yes, Mountain View. It's a very
No, no.
interesting.
Sorry, I missed one slide.
Oh, sorry, yes, and this is
Inventory.
actually, yeah, it shows inventory, how it actually was in these years, right? Like you would see on the graphs, the the very last graphs they show December, right? Like, and on 2021 it shows November. So if you compare like the months of November, the lowest right now is in 2021, and that's why you would see this curve going up because there is nothing to buy at today's market, right? And people are ready to bid the in the highest possible just to get the house in San Carlos right now, and which is insane, but yes, it's true. And well, I see uh, potential growth in San Carlos in the future, and I think whoever buys there is like a lot of developments going, and people develop their properties, they rebuild the old homes, and I think there is a big potential in San Carlos in the future. So yeah, we can go to next slide.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's an interesting story here too about Mountain View. So I do have a client in Mountain View as well. So Mountain View has a big shortage in the market on the inventory as well. So single family homes, yes, you could see a little curve, but people still bid on homes. I mean, like above asking price. So if you go to the next slide,
Of course.
mhm. So you would see that the single family homes, I mean, like sold homes, got higher. So if we go to the next slide,
Yes.
Yes, so medium list price, again, they are very short time on the market, and whatever is on the market, if it's a good property with a good location and it shows well, people will bid on it and will bid fast. So just to tell a little story from my experience, recently I submitted preemptive, talking about preemptives, right? Like I submitted a very strong preemptive for Mountain View home. So, and the seller refused to accept it. So they basically been waiting for the offer due date. I drove actually to this property when it just hit the market, and we submitted like within 1 hour of it to be being on the market. So, okay, I tried to call the agent multiple times and saying, just accept our offer. It's very generous, very strong offer. Just, accept us. But they've been waiting uh, till the offer due date. And so it was a very stressful time because at the last moment, right, like when the offer due date was like noon, I called about 12:30 to the agent and I said like, hey, what do you have on hand? Do you have like higher than this price? She said, yes, I do have higher than that. So we improved our offer, which was preemptive offer, resubmitted it. And so so basically I reached out to her, like I was calling her every 5 minutes, like literally, like every minute. I mean, like, so I called her and I said like, so tell me, what do you have? She said, I had 4 offers and 3 of them very close to your price. Basically, the second offer was exactly at our price, and then one guy came close to our price. So they were between us and the other contract. So they've been going and calling lenders. Meanwhile, I call my lender and I say like, so offer them something, offer earlier closing. So my lender was calling them, I was calling them. So we've been like on a phone, on and off. And then my client says like, okay, I'm ready to put like more on the price. So I improved my offer. Like I throw the offer on top, like resubmitted it again. And it's like, hey, we came at a higher price. Please work with us. And I actually was like literally texting and calling the listing agent like very often, and my lender was on the phone, like assuring that we're going to close in timely manner and we're going to go and move really fast, expedited. So yeah, and we got in, and it was insane, but it was a very stressful hour, but we did it. I mean, like, it's insane, but yes, I'm super happy and excited for my clients. And it was a hard. And so basically, even in Mountain View, right, like there was a 4 offers and they've been substantially higher than the listing price. So it's not, we don't talk about 100K, we talk about like higher than 100K.
Okay, well, it's still awfully crazy in the Bay Area.
It's
Okay.
insane, especially that's what it's talking about the different tier prices, right? Like the higher price tier on a home, it is harder to get. So
Okay.
yeah, and it just shows the graph on the Mountain View how much people bid over list price. Like it was the highest when they bid in October. Right now it's a little bit less, but still there is people who bid insanely high, right? So it just showed that we still in a bidding war. It just the price of a listing price, how much they put on top of the listing price, right? That shows on the graph on the curve.
Yeah, I can see that the sale price versus listing price insanely high ratio.
Yes.
I mean, it's like 116%. It drop little bit, okay, in November, but
There is
it's
nothing
still
to buy.
insane.
It is insane.
All
But
right, let me ask you this then. Recently, you got one accepted in Mountain View. Tell us about your success story on that
well, that's what I just told. I mean, like we've
one.
been
Okay.
working with my lender, and yes, if you are submitting an offer, do not just throw your offer into email of the listing agent. You have to constantly call the agent, make your lender call the agent. And I strongly suggest, if you're preemptive, like if you work with preemptive and you put a preemptive, they don't accept it. And then when you resubmit at the time of the when you submit an offer, let's say they will set the time at noon, do not submit exactly at noon. Have your package ready and call the agent. Sometimes the agents, they will direct you, right? Like they don't disclose the price exactly, but they can tell you, like, sometimes I say like, do you have 2.1? They say like higher. I say like, do you have 2.2? They say like, yeah, because you don't blindly believe them, right? Because I know already my an analysis of the area and how much high it can go, right? And what the property is worth. So basically, when they tell me, I'm pretty sure they have two offers, and at least they can direct you with give you some pointers, and you can improve your offer like within like 5 minutes and redraw it and resubmit.
Yeah,
Then you might.
you did exactly the same thing that two of the buyers did in my commercial listing. They are
Yeah.
very aggressive. They will keep prompting you. Well, is this price? Or if I go in at this price, what chances do I have? So
Yeah.
they will keep asking you questions, pushing. So some listing agent might give him and tell them, hey, you know what? For me, I don't care. I tell them the truth because you know why? More higher price is better for my seller. So I'm not afraid of telling them what is the highest offer I've received at the moment because I know I could get a higher price than that from them. So I think it helps to keep prompting the listing agent, especially the ones that are willing to share. Okay.
Yes, and some agents are actually, yes, they helping out, and like even in what was a problem is, when I was submitting in San Carlos, majority of homes in San Carlos, they trust sales, right? Like, so basically, if there is a two or five trustees, agents, they do not do counters. So you basically throw your offer in, and then you don't wait for the counter because they don't counter. And so we lost on a couple homes just by 40K, or like by 10K, which is like really upsetting, because my client would go higher, but then we didn't get a counter because in trust sales, I think agents right now, they don't want to go and like do these negotiations with five trustees or three trustees. They just will accept the highest one, the best offer, and they would just go. And also, uh, that's another advice, like if you're gonna submit an offer, call up the agent and ask, if there is a multiple offer situation, are you going to counter or not? Is this like going to be your highest and best right now, or you're going to give a chance to my clients? So you have to find out about it beforehand, so you don't like be stuck in this situation, because it's very upsetting when you submitted the property at 2 mil and you lose by 40K. It's like it's upsetting to me personally as well, and yes, you have to be more aggressive with the market, and just do your best. And I think this is the best what we can do for my clients. And actually, when my Mountain View offer was accepted, the agent, she so the agent called the lender of the offer, which was like exactly the same price like ours, and the lender was from Wells Fargo, I think, and she didn't reply. And my lender called in, and he assured, like, we're going to close in time. They discussed it. So this is a big item too, because they wanted to close in timely manner, and my lender assured about that we're going to close. And then the listing agent, when she accepted our offer, she called me in and she said, you work really hard for your clients, and we're just going to go with you, and we just see how hard you fight for your clients. And like, it was, I mean, like, it was stressful, but we did it. And it's, you have to, like, you have to do your best for your clients. That's what I would
I
say.
would I would share this with you. I
Mhm,
think as a listing agent,
mhm.
the sometimes we are influenced by the selling agent's aggressiveness. For a couple of reasons, there are some selling agents that are pretty good sales. The aggressiveness indicate they are good sales. Well, the fact that they are good sales doesn't mean that they're gonna be a good performer in terms of giving me the cooperation that I need to close my escrow. However, I do get influenced when an agent is being very aggressive. The more communication the selling agent have with me, and if I feel like I can work with them better than some of the other selling agent who has very little communication with me, I'm probably going to go with the other one. But especially if the listing agent shows an interest in giving me the best price for my seller, I'm definitely going to work with that selling agent.
Yeah, and like just to tell how fast my lender moves, yesterday we got in a contract and tomorrow we have an appraisal. So it's insane. And I was like,
Oh wow,
appraisal,
that's very quick. That's nice.
yeah,
All
we
right,
mhm.
I think our MLO needs to use that as a reference
It
because
was
if you want to get business.
Yeah, it was expedited. Actually, we paid, I think, a little bit more for expedited, but we just promised the listing agent we're gonna close fast. So we're just doing our best to, like to keep our word, like as we promised.
So are you saying that perhaps there are some appraiser out there that's willing to put yours on top just because you pay them more?
You know what? I don't know how my lender did it. And I just asked him today, did you expedite it? He said yes. But how did he? I mean, like, usually when he expedites the appraisals, they don't show up. Like my last previous transaction, when I don't think he expedited it, but they just set an appointment a week later after the contract. So basically, they would come within 2 weeks after we got in a contract. And I'm like, can you expedite them? He says like, no, not these guys. But at this case, I don't know how he did it actually. I wanted to follow up with him. But it's insane. Yesterday we got in a contract and tomorrow appraisal is coming.
Oh wow, that's very fast. All right, let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah, and just it's another graph which shows what happens with homes. And I'm specifically talking today about single family homes, right? We all going, I mean, like we still growing, and like at the looking at the shortage of homes, we're not gonna see like homes falling in price, right? Like what maybe some people expect to happen, but there is nothing to buy and a lot of buyers on the market. And I know some people probably will be discouraged, and probably because of the holidays will they're going to go traveling, they're going to go celebrate these holidays and so on, and take a little time off. And actually, yes, some of my clients, they decided to take some time off from the house hunting because it's so stressful. Like every time they would put an offer, somebody beats them like by 200K on top of they like 200 which they put on the top of the list price, right? So yes, some people are discouraged. Some people, like with the holidays, it's probably going to be like a little softening. But like if we're going to keep with the same short inventory at the beginning of the year, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's insane, but yeah.
Tell
um
us a little bit about what it means to a buyer to have the kind of curve we have for home value index.
what it means for the home buyer. So it means if you are on a market to buy, if you are like seriously looking for the home, you probably have to take advantage of these holidays, right? Like, yes, I know there is a short market, I mean, like shortage on the market, but if there is some home which is like specifically this holiday time, if you would see some homes which are hanging on the market, and then because like some people might take a little time off, some people, like you have to not to be discouraged but to keep looking, because if we're gonna get into the beginning of the year with the same shortage on the market, we're just gonna keep growing. If the rate is not gonna change, we're just gonna keep growing. And why? The reason why I'm saying, because some people at the beginning of the year they get bonuses, right? They RCUs are opening up, they like it, there are going to be more strong buyers on the market. That's what I would expect at the beginning of the year. So, and maybe possibly some homes are holding off on the sales, right? Like they think what's going to happen at the beginning of the year. But it doesn't mean at the beginning of the year, if they're going to put these homes on the market, there is going to be none of the people who want to buy. there's going to be a lot of people who will want to buy. And that's just my projections. The homes are not going to fall in the price, right? They're just going to keep climbing if we're going to be in the same situation all the time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next slide.
And yes, this is for like it's just like a little encouragement every time. Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yeah, every time if you see a house on the market, just hit the market, and you see if you call the agent and there is a lockbox, you just go and see it with your clients. And if there is a possibility to submit preemptive, and you feel aggressive, and your clients really wanna like to submit a good price, just do it. Just be aggressive. Do not do panic. Yes, just do not wait, because somebody, if there is even a little window for your offer to get accepted, be this aggressive agent for your clients, because otherwise, somebody else will be aggressive. And it's just saying from my experience, you have to be aggressive if the market is like that.
Yeah, one of the traits of a successful real estate agent is aggressiveness. I'll share with you about this. Mike Ferry talking about, when you're a realtor, when you drive on the road, you see a for sale by owner sign in front of the house. Do you just kind of drove by without going there at least to try knock on the door to see if you can get the listing? What kind of agent are you? Are you the agent in the first example, or the agent in the second example? If you're the agent in the second example, you can be a pretty successful listing agent as well as a selling agent. So if you see a property that is coming soon, don't wait until it hits the market. Call up the listing agent. Now, if there is a Supra lockbox, of course, you still need the listing agent's permission to see the house, but at least think about calling the listing agent. You may just get lucky, you get to see it first, and then you can eliminate the competition. Do exactly what this other agent did, but make sure you don't break the code of ethics. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Lily. I think Joanna is back. I'm going to go to Joanna and come back to you later.
Thank you, Kenny.
All right, Joanna. I know you're a little under the weather tonight, so I excuse you if you're a little slow in your presentation. So not to worry. We can keep it brief and go to the main point. And tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what you're going to tell us tonight. Oh,
Okay.
okay. You're
Hi,
muted.
good
Okay,
evening,
now.
everybody. My name is Jhoanna Cruz. Can you hear me, Kenny?
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, you're okay. You're okay.
Okay.
Now,
So my name is Jhoanna Cruz. I'm the real estate agent with Center Mac Realty, and I'm in the Contra Costa County. Sorry, Kenny, are you trying to? Can you hear me, or is there?
I think you're a little on and off, but that's okay. We can hear you.
Okay.
Your internet issue,
So
yeah.
I'm going to talk about Contra Costa market update for tonight. You can share the slide, Kenny.
Of course, of course. All right. Okay. All right, good. Let me put you on the screen. I don't have you on the screen, so hang on just 1 second. And now you're on the screen. Hopefully we
Okay.
can hear you though. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
start talking.
Good evening again, everybody. My name is Joanna Cruz, with an agent with Center Mac Realty, and I focus on Contra Costa County. So I'm just going to do a brief overview of Contra Costa County. The median sold price for the area, this including condo, single family homes, is about $700,000. And this is about 21.7% increase from last year, October of last year. So if you had seen just the price range alone, it actually the market is still going up in this area compared to last year. Um, on the right side of the screen that you can see is the median sold price by bedroom. Um, there is not a lot of inventories for one bedroom in the area, and there is very slight decrease in terms of uh, sold properties. Most of our properties in the area are two bedroom and up, and the median homes for a four-bedroom house is actually $619,000. Um, that is actually from last year. For this year, it has increased 23% to 767,000. So, if we're going to compare from last year to this year, there is a significant increase for homes in this area. Next slide, Kenny.
Okay. All right.
On the left side of your screen, you'll see some of the nearby counties in the Bay Area. So Contra Costa County um, still shows the median sold home is 700,000. Alameda County is actually about $1 million, which is still kind of high in the East Bay Area, and Solano County is about 543. So I did, as you know, San Francisco, San Mateo, they are all in the upper $1.5 million compared to the other cities. So buying a home, especially for first-time home buyers in Contra Costa County, is very reasonable. It's also affordable for first-time home buyers. Some investors are also actually looking into these areas as well, since it's very developing, especially the city of Oakley and Brentwood area. There are new communities opening up almost yearly in these areas. On the right side, you'll see the homes sold from last year's uh, not September of last month. We had there's about sold about 355 homes were sold. Um, and for the month of October is 366. This is a combination of condos, single family homes, and multi units as well. In this little graph that I have, it says homes are still being sold above asking, so there's still significant amount of there's still significant homes that are being sold above asking, and homes are uh, still about 70 homes are below asking. So it's still very significant that we're still in the seller's market in the Contra Costa County. Next slide, please.
Okay.
So in terms of the inventory in this area, there is not much one bedroom, as I mentioned earlier. Today, as you can see, there's some increase of the inventory from September to October. Right now, for a two-bedroom, we see last month there was homes for sale for 188. Now it's 144. For three bedrooms, it's about 418, and then now we only have 279. So homes are being sold. However, as you can see, the average sale homes that are being sold right now are actually about 19 days in the market. Compared last month, it's about 10 to 15 days. It's still pretty much close to it, but the homes are staying longer just because there's more um, the seasonal break from the buyers buying are actually in effect. So this is a really good time for buyers to actually get their offers accepted during this time. So in September, there were about sorry if I want to make sure that I have this one, about 1,046. Their homes are for sale now. We only have 741, so there's an increase. So there's going to be a lot of the homes are getting sold in this area because of the affordability. Next slide,
I'm
please.
sorry, did you say increase or decrease?
Decrease.
Okay, I thought I heard increase. Sorry about that.
Sorry, it's a decrease in the inventory right now.
Okay, so situation is pretty tight in is it Contra Costa County?
Contra Costa County, yes.
All right. Okay, please continue.
Okay, next slide, please.
Okay.
So I'm going to discuss one of the cities in Contra Costa County, which is I really focus on lately, and this is Oakley. So the median homes in Oakley is actually 650,000. It's about 26% more from last year. Median sold homes in this area, it's about 650,000 compared to last year, which is about 530,000. But the other areas you could also see in Brentwood and Antioch, they have significantly increased in terms of their pricings as well for the home values of the home. Um, Last month there were about 32 homes sold. Now there is about 27. So there is there's the houses are moving fast in this area. The average homes in this area is about sold about 15 days in the market right now. So it's still very reasonable, still less than 30 days. It shows that it's still a hot market for Oakley.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Joanna.
Oh, not a
Let's
problem,
go.
Kenny. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let me go back to our regional scene so we can discuss some
Sure.
issues. All right. Well, I appreciate you hanging in there, Joanna. I know it's tough for you tonight. Got
It's
offers to write,
okay.
got a little cold, and yet you still show up. I like the spirit. I like that a lot. Okay, I appreciate that. Now back to the original scene. I mean, I'm gonna ask everybody the same question. It is sort of a surprise question. It's not rehearsed, but I'm sure everybody have a little opinion about that. Okay. Now, in this kind of market, I think suffice to say, housing market is very hot in the Bay Area. I don't see any sign of slowing down. So, what strategies would you recommend to your prospective sellers in your respective areas to get the best price for their home? We'll start with Kathleen.
All right, for me, I think how my suggestion always, uh, how to say, investigate the market and find the best and perfect price to be put on the market. So that's a very important starting point. That is priced right. And of course, nowadays the open houses are very popular. So the foot traffic is very important too. So if you have a right price to put on the market, right listing price, so you will attract more traffic for your open house. And then likes, everybody wants. So actually, if they see lots of buyers coming in, then they will put in offers and they will think it's popular. You will probably get a higher offer, and that's the first step. And second step, of course, you get a good selling agent, listing agent. Uh, Actually, it's a lot of hard work we put in to put on a listing on market for the preparation, the cleaning, the staging, the marketing, and also the follow-ups and all the negotiations. So it's a lot of hard work we put in. So you need to find an efficient and hardworking listing agent. That's important too. And I think the third one, the most important one, is you need to grab the chance. If you got a right offer, do not hesitate. So sometimes when we wait longer, probably you will get higher, and probably you will lose that opportunity. So I think that's important too. So everything is about timing, I think.
Okay, great, excellent, thank you. And
Thank you.
Lily, what's your expert opinion about what strategy you would recommend to a seller who's thinking about selling early next year to get the highest price for her home?
Well, it should be the right listing price to track the people in, right? That's true. What I agree with Caitlin. And the probably one other thing is all about presentation, right? Like if the property needs some work, I sometimes, like help my sellers to invest into the property to make it look better, because I just will tell you example. I submitted, so there was like 3 homes in Brentwood last month where my clients wanted to submit. So there was a beautiful house which was unstaged, completely unstaged, and we put in an offer and we got accepted at 1.1. And then the neighbor a couple blocks away, similar square footage with a lot of like preparation, right? They did the staging, and they hit, like, I called the agent and I asked at what price are you pending, and she says we spent higher than 1.25. So just for the staging they got about 150K on top. And I'm like, it's insane, but they've been a very similar location with the same similar schools. They had both the same, exactly the same qualities of the home, right? And just a big difference on the staging. Do not, like, staging is very important. I can't emphasize it. It costs some money, but even out of very small home, the staging can make it look like a big home. So do not be afraid, or like, just invest into staging. Staging is very important.
Yeah, especially in this market, home sell fast. What
Yeah.
risk do you have by spending money on staging?
Yeah, it might cost like 3 or 4 thousand, but it can bring on average from 10 to 20% on the value which you're gonna get. Maybe more, like in
Uh,
this case.
I'll share with you. I previously sold a listing in Hupa Valley in Southern California. And when I started negotiating with the seller, I told her my standard was 5%. Okay, I didn't use 6 or 7%. I used 5%. She said, Kenny, do you think you could do it at 4.5? I thought about it. I said, all right, 4.5. So I went to meet with her. We got the listing signed. Uh, Before we got the listing signed, she said, Kenny, uh, how much is the staging? I said, probably it's going to cost you about 4,000. And then she said, Kenny, how much would you charge me if you include staging in your commission? I thought about it. I said, how about 6%? She signed with me for 6%. And Justin and I, we only invested, because my 6% actually included some painting too. I actually included painting in my commission. She doesn't have to pay extra. I included it. So after I add the painting and the staging to it, that's about $4,000 total investment. For $4,000 total investment, we got 1.5% extra on a 600,000 listing price. So how much extra did I make?
More.
1.5 of 600,000.
5,000 maybe.
That's 9,000 minus 4. I made an extra 5.
Yeah.
Okay, and I sold my listing fast too.
Yeah. The
And
other
go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, I want to say on a listing, right? Like, I would never go live until my listing is perfect, right? Like, it's spotless. You basically come in and it looks like from a vast magazine. It's the biggest, I think, like, item you should consider too. Like, photography should be like bright light, lots of light. It it costs money, but it's worth it.
I also shared with you though, I did not finish my story. So
Sorry.
what happened was the previous agent listed it for at 599. No offer after a month in this market. That's pretty disappointing. No offer after a month at 599. So I kind of look at the comps. I suggested to the seller that we should list it at 545. She said, Kenny, I believe you. I'll go along with whatever you're telling me. I'll do whatever you tell me. Okay.
Uh-huh.
After a month of being on the market and no offer, we'll do that to a seller. So the seller said, all right, 545 it is. And, at 545, I'll sell. So we listed at 545. We had 6 offers. The highest one was 590.
Oh, wow.
No negotiation, no negotiation. They just offer 590. Okay.
Mhm. Wow.
That's why staging is extremely important. You have good staging, good photography, good video, good promotion. You're gonna get it for the highest value. All right. Okay, that's my 2 cents. Short turn, Joanna. Thank you for your opinion. Lily.
Oh, so for my advice for my sellers, in this market is actually like Kathleen and Lily has already been said, the right pricing for the home. Because we, of course, we want the best for our sellers to get the highest value for their homes, but at the same time, we also want to attract foot traffic. So having the home list a good price, attractive price, and very close to the comps, and also having the house prepared ahead of time. Little minor things that, if they have a shed that is full of, not junk but memories that they have, they need to start boxing those up, because 1 or 2 months of preparation sometimes is not enough for our sellers to actually move. And if they can't move all of their belongings out or prepare the home on time, then we have to push back going our property to go live. And like Lily said, we also have to try, you know as you we want the property to be in perfect condition. Most of the properties that I actually sold are not staged, but because I get a professional photographer to come out and actually do nice videos and pictures, they still sell. I mean, one example that I'm going to share right now is I had a listing in San Ramon, and I was so afraid because one of the properties going to go out in the market a few days the after a few days, as mine went on live. And guess what, mine already closed last Friday, and that particular property, it's still in the market right now. It hasn't been sold. It's been 18 days in the market, and I'm like scratching my head, what happened. But the thing is that the way he priced his property was way below to my listing price, but I got mine sold on a higher above asking. So, strategy, talking to, networking with other agents in the community. That's how I got my listing sold. Because, it's a pretty above 1 million for a condo in San Ramon. I believe Kathleen actually sold another home in that area, and it's $1 million condo. It's still kind of pricey. So I totally suggest like networking also with other agents in the area helps you a lot. Just build your name out there and make friends. But
Okay,
definitely good price and prepare the home on time.
speaking of networking, how would you go about networking with local agents in the area?
Oh, in the area. So what I've usually done is I follow up. Um, I send them emails during the holidays, or if I have any listings, even though they're out of their areas, I still send them an email and say, "Hey, I have a listing in this area. You might have a buyer, looking. So, come and see us, show them, let's make it work." Those kind of things, just kind of be friendly, and leaving a good impression to other fellow agents actually helps a lot. That leaves a good mark on your end. They know they would want to work with you again. I think that's the biggest thing, because I've worked with other agents, still now. We do give referrals on each other too, and give feedbacks in terms um, of their their properties that is on pending or have been sold. They can tell me, hey, I only got 2 offers here, but this is, you might want to look at accepting some offers in this price range. That would help your house sold, faster. They give you feedback, so that really helps a lot. Especially in our line of work. It's just the networking. Probably it's before they had some meetups, um, realtor meetups, but lately I haven't seen one. I haven't been to one, but just email communications, drip campaigns helps a lot. Staying in touch.
Okay, awesome. There are nice pointers on networking with local agents. I totally agree with that too. In fact, that's one of my action plan. It's an item on my action plan when I go for my listing presentation. Is that one of the things I'll do for my seller? I used to have it in my action plan. They will actually call up the neighborhood realtors to come to our open houses. Okay, but I scale back on my action plan afterwards. But it is a good thing to have on your action plan. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time to share with us this valuable information. And I wanted to thank my audience as well for supporting this, the Real Biz Academy show. And we hope to see you again in our future market update. In the meantime, have a nice weekend, everybody.